All right. So what's happening here? We've got new cameras here in the studio, and we're trying to figure out the cameras. Apparently, I look like I'm stage lit today because the camera and the ring light in front of me are a work in progress. We got rid of the Diddy Open because Diddy is a problem, and we are not trying to be in or be a party to the Diddy parties.
He forced his way back.
There's
he
something.
refused to go away.
There's something there about force. Yeah, and also, I'm even more bothered by all of this because, of course, the radio audience doesn't care about the lighting of the cameras or anything else, and that's primarily who I'm speaking to. I'm also bothered by who the hell I'm looking at right now. Why are you here?
That's a great question. Where's Jackson at? What are you doing, Jackson?
Well, I told him that I would send him away for performance issues if he continued to perform suboptimally. Are you going to blame the Diddy intro that I said 2 weeks ago we had to get rid of that is still playing at this point? You're going to blame it on him?
Yes.
Okay.
Because wasn't this supposed to be fixed 2 weeks ago? Isn't that what you just said?
Yes, correct.
Not even your producer. What are you talking about? I'm getting suspended for my predecessor. What are we doing?
It's just a great way to start the show.
Now, let it be known, I was the first to remove the Diddy intro. While you were gone, we just went back to Kool and the Gang, Hollywood Swingin', the original song that they sampled for the Mace song. I'm just saying, is it a coincidence that the moment you left, Diddy was gone from the intro? Maybe you were the reason that Diddy hung around as long as he did on the show open.
You already made a joke about Diddy forcing himself onto the show after, again, the allegations of him forcing himself into other places is, of course, there. So, yes, why not? We'll just blame Jackson. We'll just blame Jackson for all the things that are wrong because he's not here to defend himself, and that's how this works.
Well, if you know he's not here tomorrow, he's fired.
Well, did I do that?
I did that.
Oh, who gave you power?
Nobody. I'm just saying it. I'm alleging right now. And I'm also going to go take my smoke break, so don't mess anything up.
615-737-1045 is the number. Yes, the gang is actually back together. Bert is stuck with us all week long. Lucas is here, as am I. Your phone calls are welcome. F&M Bank chat available at your disposal. We have a trade. We have another trade because there was a trade yesterday that we didn't talk about. That was over, or that was completed after we got off the air. The Jaguars appear to be selling parts. Did you notice that? At 1-5?
Yes, everything is fine in Jacksonville.
And so the Raiders also, with 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks ahead of the NFL trade deadline, because remember, it's moved back into the month of November this season for the first time.
It's 3 weeks from today.
3 weeks from today. So 3 weeks from today, things are starting to move. Teams who are floundering are selling parts. Would this team sell some parts? Because they are floundering, they should think about it. If they haven't already, they should probably do it because you need the best possible draft pick. I'm not advocating for tanking. I think they should still go out there and try and win football games with whomever is playing for them throughout the course of the season. But assets are something that can be sold off this roster, and the Raiders appear to have done just that. Davante Adams, who has been unhappy in Las Vegas, who has missed time with a hamstring injury, is now on the move. He goes to the New York Jets. Ian Rappaport reporting that about an hour ago. One of the best wide receivers in the game, still, even at an advanced age, going from the Raiders to the Jets. According to Rappaport, quote, Aaron Rodgers wanted it, recruited for it, and the Jets can use it. And I'm to believe that Aaron Rodgers had nothing to do with the fact that Robert Saleh is no longer the head coach in New York, from many of these same NFL insiders. But that's neither here nor there today. The compensation, it's a conditional third rounder from the Jets to Vegas. And Lucas, I don't know if you were here or on vacation when the reporting came out about the Raiders seeking a second-round pick straight up for Davante Adams, and basically the collective league laughing at them and saying, no, we will not give you a second-round pick for Davante Adams at this point because they also have to assume the contract. But this is a conditional third-round pick, so compromise is had.
Could be a second.
It could be a second if, how about these for conditions? If Davante Adams is a first or second team All-Pro, or if he is on the active roster for an AFC Championship game or a Super Bowl, the Jets' third rounder becomes a second round pick for the Raiders.
So say that again.
If Adams is a first or second team all-pro player in 2024, or he is on the active roster for an AFC championship game or Super Bowl, that pick goes from a third to a second. Those are pretty unique conditions.
Very
I don't know
unique.
that I've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, typically you're looking at playing 70% of the snaps, right? X amount of catches, yards. Very interesting. Devontae Adams, so far this season, if we're going to track where he's at in terms of being an all-pro, 18 catches for 209 yards and 1 touchdown.
So, trades are being made by teams that are no longer meaningfully competitive. This team is no longer meaningfully competitive. What do you sell? You have to move something, right? If you let any of the legitimate assets, and what do I mean by assets? So when I say assets, Calvin Ridley's contract is not an asset to be moved. There were very few teams that were interested in giving him as much money as he ended up getting from this team. In fact, this team giving him more money than he was probably expecting to get at the top of the tier 2 wide receiver market is a big reason why he's here.
Hopkins more of a trade asset at wide receiver than Ridley.
Correct, because he's an expiring contract. Because I said on Sunday after the game, after I tweeted Titans lose 20-17 to the Indianapolis Colts, they fall to 1-4, 0-1 in the division. I said, now's the time to start thinking about selling assets. And then somebody tweeted me and said, well, blow the thing up. And I said, well, you can't blow it up. You've just spent all this money to put it together. Started to get responses about, oh, you literally said not 5 minutes ago they need to start selling assets. No. The contracts that you just handed out are not assets, kids. That's chock full of guaranteed money that would wreck contenders' caps if they tried to acquire, say, Calvin Ridley or L'Jarius Sneed or Lloyd Cushenberry or Kenneth Murray. I mean, all of these are different levels of cap hits, obviously, but those aren't assets. That's the team that you just bought and paid for and signed to long-term deals. Assets are DeAndre Hopkins on an expiring contract, are Harold Landry, close to the end of his deal, are potentially Amani Hooker, who I believe is in the final year of his deal.
What about Jeffrey Simmons?
If I'm not mistaken, Jeff is also on the table. Jeff should be. Jeff absolutely should be. And I know Titans fans aren't going to want to hear that. I'm sure Jeff would not be interested in that discussion. That's probably lower on the list of things that you would move, because for a team that already is struggling with pass rush, and by the way, Austin Stanley, and I didn't see this during the show yesterday, when we were talking, I asked, when is the last time the Titans legitimately invested in a first-round bona fide pass rusher? They've only had 2 in the history, or in the Titans era. Curse and Derek Morgan are the only 2 first-round picks spent by this organization at edge. So there is a consistent, regardless of who's running the show, consistent lack of investment at one of the most important positions.
Both pretty solid picks.
Solid picks. Harold, also a solid pick. He's not TJ Watt. He's not Myles Garrett. He's not Max Crosby. And there are teams, I know that it's being talked about, certainly in Detroit, after Aiden Hutchinson went down.
Well, that's what you look at, right? You look at contenders that have a very specific need. Detroit and edge rusher comes to mind. Kansas City and wide receiver comes to mind. Yeah. And the other part of this is Jeff an asset with a busted elbow right now? He was fine. He was one of their better players. He looked fine on Sunday against the Colts. They were getting pressure. He was affecting the quarterback. He was stuffing the run. There were no boneheaded penalties the way that he had in the first couple of games of the season. Jeff Simmons was fine. He doesn't need surgery, or at least he doesn't need surgery right now to correct the issue that's wrong with him, and it's not appreciably affecting his performance. So if I'm a team and he passes the physical, then yeah, I'd look at Jeff Simmons. But are you getting less for Jeff because he's got an injury that everybody knows about than you might if he was, more healthy than not? All of these things need to be on the table for a 1-4 football team. Now, that does not mean that I'm pro-tanking. Absolutely not. You still go out there and you still try to win football games, and I understand that you're going to be mad about that, and you're still cursing Mike Vrabel for beating, the Dolphins and the Jags at the end of the year because, we could have had Joe Alt. You're fine with J.C. Latham. Relax. Are people doing that? I haven't heard anybody doing
I got
that.
so many of those tweets in the first 3 weeks of the season.
That's ridiculous. You have your left tackle. That was the whole point of the first round of the draft, and you got it. Whether it was
and
Joe
looks
Alt
great.
or J.C. Latham, you got your left tackle. It's so ridiculous if anybody's bemoaning the Dolphins win or the Jags win.
They're out there, Lucas. They'll find you. You didn't get enough. You remember when you sent me a couple of those tweets while I was on vacation of the unhinged people that send me messages on a regular basis? I said, no, I'm on vacation. They're yours now, okay? They're out there. I promise you. So, Anthony on YouTube, you can interact on the F&M Bank chat as well, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. We should trade Reddick for Key straight up. No, Hassan Reddick is a good pass rusher, and Arden Key is not. Who's doing that deal? The Jets did, by the way, it's not just opening or trading for Devontae Adams. They have given Hassan Reddick, according to Diana Rossini this morning, a small window to seek a trade now that he has hired new representation. Him hiring new representation means that he wants to play football and he wants to quit getting fined. So I would have said trade for Hassan Reddick if you'd have beaten the Colts, but you didn't. And you're 1-4, and you're forked, essentially, as far as meaningfully competitive. You're not mathematically eliminated anywhere yet, but that's the state of things. If you'd have won, there's hope. You didn't. Feels like you need to start selling. Coming up next, we will talk about NFL headlines. There's a lot of them, not just the Devontae Adams move. We will also get to Oh No at the bottom of the hour. Let's see. No, I almost called you Jackson.
All right, that's the end of the segment. Come back next when we talk about whatever the hell Buck wants to talk about. It's time for NFL Headlines with Lucas Panzica.
No, I
like that.
It's terrible.
No, I like that.
You let the music play.
No, he did that perfectly. He did that
He
perfectly.
hasn't done a damn thing perfectly since he scurried into the old control room with you 3 years ago.
The headline of the day, obviously, is Davante Adams reportedly being dealt to the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers gets his man, and it will fix everything, right? It will fix everything. All the problems the New York Jets have will be solved because Davante Adams will be a Jet, I am sure. Did you hear Bill Belichick's comments with the Manning cast last night about the Jets?
No, I didn't.
Something to the effect of, not surprised. He did not agree with them firing Robert Saleh. And he said something to the effect of, but that's their owner, ready, fire, aim. That's what he does. He said that's why the Jets have won 30% of their games in the last X amount of years. So, yes, Bill Belichick, former Jets head coach for 5 minutes. Okay.
So, fair to expect that he is not going to be on the top of the Jets
Fair to expect. Fair to expect.
Come this upcoming NFL hiring cycle.
He's ribbing the owner on the ESPN Manning cast during their Monday Night Football loss to the Bills, which put the Bills at the top of the AFC East. Adams, we talk about that headline. Hassan Reddick looking for a trade, has a new agent. We talked about that headline. The biggest headline to come out of Sunday's games had to be Aiden Hutchinson going down with a broken leg. Aiden Hutchinson, who is the top contender for Defensive Player of the Year, has 7.5 sacks so far this season. Fractured left tibia. He's expected to be out 4 to 6 months. That's been some reports. Coach Dan Campbell said that yesterday. Other people have phrased it as indefinitely. And there's been some optimism expressed that Hutchinson could potentially sneak back in before the end of the season. 4 months.
A broken leg.
That would have him coming back near the end of the playoffs, right? If that's the best case scenario. But he just had surgery. It does sound incredibly optimistic, and it does sound like the Lions would very much be in the market for a pass rusher before the trade deadline 3 weeks from today.
Would you be willing to give them Harold Landry for something? What does Harold Landry get you, the former second-round pick?
It's an interesting question.
At this point.
Landry, who had a great start to the season, statistically.
So I'm just going to pull up Aiden Hutchinson's Pro Football Focus numbers right now. So far, he has played 280 snaps. Do you want to guess where he ranks in terms of total pressures among qualified edge rushers, not total defensive players?
He won.
He's the number 1 overall player.
Yeah.
45 pressures on 280 snaps so far this year.
That's surprising.
He's been excellent. The Lions have an upcoming game at Minnesota. They haven't played a ton of divisional games just yet, and they smoked the Dallas Cowboys over the weekend, embarrassed the Dallas Cowboys over the weekend. I would think that anybody who is in the tier of Harold Landry, like a tier 2 pass rusher, because you're not replacing Aiden Hutchinson. Nobody who has an Aiden Hutchinson-like player is going to give that up to another contender, because if you got one of those, you're either would the Browns do something with Myles Garrett? I can't imagine.
Different positions, right? Aiden Hutchinson,
sure.
The best edge rusher in the NFL right now. No edge rusher was having a better season than Hutchinson. It's a huge blow to the Detroit Lions, who very much are in a Super Bowl window. But that's an interesting question. Who is kind of on that tier of a Harold Landry? And could you get a player with a similar profile to Harold Landry that does not have the contract of Harold Landry?
What about Hassan Reddick? Hassan Reddick's better. Hassan Reddick is a legitimate star pass rusher, and he is now active. Now, you would have to pay him.
Yeah, he's looking for a new deal.
But they're not paying Aiden Hutchinson. But the Lions did. The Lions were among the offseason's biggest spenders because they gave Penei Sewell a new contract. They gave Amon-Ra St. Brown a new contract. Did Goff get a deal?
Oh, yeah. Goff got paid big time.
Goff got a deal. Okay, I was just trying to make sure that I remembered that correctly. So their cap is not, great, but maybe Hassan Reddick has played himself out of the position where he's going to get a new contract or is going to actively seek a new contract on the other side of this thing.
Cole on the F&M Bank chat says, Leonard Williams, Matt Judon. I wouldn't say Judon.
Judon already got traded. And the Falcons are out here punking the NFC South right now.
For sure. Falcons feel like they're in it, and Judon is their best pass rusher. That was a big need for them in the offseason.
I advocated for the Titans to trade for Matt Judon this summer, and they didn't.
So that was probably the biggest headline to come out of Sunday's slate, was Aiden Hutchinson going down with a broken fibula. Yeah. In other news, this was interesting in in Denver. They were at Mile High Stadium. Jim Harbaugh, before kickoff of the Chargers' 23-16 win over the Broncos, went into the medical tent, and then went back to the Chargers' locker room and was ruled questionable to return with an illness. You're making a face like you didn't see any of this over the weekend.
Buddy, I don't see most NFL games until today. Like, today is my off day because I'm sitting there watching one NFL game.
Harbaugh, now we know, left Sunday's game against the Broncos with an irregular heartbeat. John Harbaugh had to be called off his post-game press conference with the Ravens after their win over the Commanders because he had to get an update on his brother. And it was right because that was the late afternoon slate, and the Ravens had just wrapped up their noon game against the Commanders. And Harbaugh did come back. He ended up coaching the game. They beat the Broncos. They improved. They are now 3-2 on the season. But he will, from here on out, wear a heart monitor for the next 2 weeks, and he will take blood thinners and another medication to keep his heart from spiking. Jim Harbaugh on Monday saw a cardiologist who he said did not recommend a medical procedure, but said he might have one in the future. Apparently, Harbaugh had an ablation in 1999 and 2012, which is a procedure that uses heat or cold to destroy heart tissue that is causing an irregular heartbeat. So this has come up for him before?
Yeah, he told reporters that he's had 2 different episodes of an atrial flutter, which is what this is classified as. Quote, I did an electrocardiogram, and they said it was back to the sinus rhythm, which I assume means the normal rhythm. And I said, I feel good, so I got back out there on the field. Football coaches are crazy. Jim Harbaugh is particularly unhinged. One would hope, this is like Dean Pease. Dean Pease had a medical situation.
He did.
On the sidelines.
In the press box, right? He was a press box guy.
Yeah, it was in the press box in the very early going of a game between, I think that was 2018, the Titans and the Colts, because Mariota was still starting at quarterback. Vrabel took over the defensive play calling. Blaine Gabbert, Mariota, got hurt in that game. Gabbert went in, and it was a disaster.
Yeah, it was a blowout. But Harbaugh, in a very Harbaugh quote, said, it would take my heart stopping for me not to be out there on the sideline. So he did come back. He coached the Chargers to a win. But, that was a big story on Sunday for sure. Jim Harbaugh going into the locker room before kickoff. The Browns are still terrible. We played a game while you were gone.
It makes me so happy. I don't root against any organization in the NFL, but I root against Jimmy Haslam and I root against Deshaun Watson. Justice.
We played a game while you were gone. The most miserable NFL fan base and the happiest NFL fan base. For most miserable, it came down to Browns or Jags because they're terrible. They have both paid their quarterback. There are a lot of parallels there. But obviously with the Browns, you have all of the off-field stuff piled on Deshaun Watson. I think we ended up ruling the Jags were the most miserable because at the time they were the only winless team and they put the quarterback's name on the stadium. But it's going back and forth between those two. I think it's still Jags because they're about to have a 2-week stay in London and probably go 0-2 overseas. So I still think it's the Jags, but you could argue the Browns. I mean, that is a very, very competitive roster around a worst-case scenario quarterback situation.
Why are the Titans not in that category?
Well, the Titans now they would be, sure, but we were just coming off the Dolphins win. They were going into the bye week. Okay. Titans fan base, when we had that discussion, was not as miserable as the winless Jags fan base
or what they are now.
The one-win Browns fan base.
Sure. The correct answer is Cleveland.
Yeah.
The correct answer is Cleveland because Stefanski was asked again whether he would continue to start Deshaun Watson at his post-game press conference, and he just said yes.
Digging in.
Bert, do you know how to do the reckless speculation sound? Do you know where that's located?
It's the blank. Yeah. He knows. What am I doing?
Do you know how to do that? Bert, can I check with you really quick to see if you know how to play the sound?
Shut up.
What are you doing back there?
My best. I'm doing my best.
I'm familiar with your best. That's my concern.
Oh, God. The
reckless speculation is that Jimmy Haslam has a knife in Kevin Stefanski's back saying, you will start that quarterback until I say otherwise, because Kevin Stefanski is a 2-time coach of the year. That person understands what quarterback play is supposed to look like. That person understands what it's supposed to look like on film. He understands that he is getting literally the worst quarterback play in the league right now. Kevin Stefanski is in a no-win situation because he works for a terrible organization and his quarterback has complete control. Again, the fact that somebody like Deshaun Watson has no on-field consequences as well as, off-field consequences other than financially is ridiculous to me. It's why I root against him personally.
Browns are 1-5. They will host 2 AFC North opponents in their next 2 games. Bengals this Sunday, Ravens the following Sunday, both noon kickoffs, and things are bad. So I understand what you're saying. Titans fans are having a bad time. Titans can also bail from this quarterback whenever they want. Browns are giving Deshaun Watson $240 million in guaranteed money. And the Jags are doing something similar with Trevor Lawrence, who has also been horrific.
Cap hits of $72 million $72 million plus over the next 2 seasons. Whether he's here or there in the NFL, in the Browns organization or not, he's walking away with that money. It doesn't matter. So I guess Haslam's like, well, I paid the money. We're gonna ride this thing out, which is nonsense. What do you think if you're a Browns player? Like we had a similar conversation while you were out about, I got some questions about when do you make a quarterback change, even because the Levis injury and the whole thing. When do you make a quarterback change? When do you make a quarterback change? And I said, when you lose the locker room. Mm-hmm. When you see guys actively out on everything that's going on, and it's not like Calvin Ridley saying, yeah, I need some more touches in the first half of the game. By the way, Callahan's answer, I went back and listened to the press conference yesterday. We may have glossed over this, or I may have glossed over this. The fact that he's saying, yeah, I had some stuff dialed up for Calvin early, the ball just didn't get there. Something to keep an eye on as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, the Browns are the most miserable. You have anything else?
Commanders defensive tackle Jonathan Allen out for the season. This is big for one of the better interior defensive linemen in the NFL, who has 2 sacks already to this point in the year. He tore his left pectoral muscle on Sunday in the Commanders' loss to Robert Walsh's Baltimore Ravens. In what was a really fun game, by the way. Yo, you were there. He's talking to someone back there. That's a big loss for the Commanders, who were in the discussion of happiest NFL fan base. In fact, they were my submission for happiest NFL fan base at the time that we had that discussion when they were riding a 3-game win streak. It was between Commanders and Vikings at that point. And I still think Commanders fans are among the happiest right now in the NFL.
Oh, yeah, because they no longer have the stench of Dan Snyder over everything that they do, right? It's been in whatever way, shape, or form have been relevant. And that's a football town. And I know they're in Landover, Maryland. They're not at RFK Stadium anymore, and that makes them a little less than what they were at their peak when they were winning Super Bowls, decades upon decades ago. But that is one of the proudest and most rabid fan bases in all of the NFL that's just been left for dead. Been left for dead for the better part of 2 decades, and they finally have something tangible, something sustainable, not RG3, right? Respectfully to Robert Griffin III. This is something that will legitimately reinvigorate one of the most fun and active and engaged fan bases in football. I've never experienced a good commies or a good Washington team in my lifetime, other than the RG3, shooting star.
They had some blips with Kirk Cousins there. Got a big old deal.
Yeah, from Minnesota.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins stays getting big deals. But, yeah, it's amazing what hitting on a young quarterback can do for a fan base.
But I want to make sure that people understand this, because that seems to be the place that a lot of Titans fans have relegated themselves to. Well, just hit on the quarterback with your top draft pick and everything will be fine. You know how hard that is? It doesn't just happen. Trevor Lawrence is the number 1 overall pick. The Jags are in hell right now.
Well, what we're seeing is Jaden Daniels, C.J. Stroud are the anomalies. Yeah. You might get one of those every single year. Most of the time, you can hit on a young quarterback. It's just going to take a little bit, and you're going to take your lumps early on. And there are some coaching staffs that don't survive those lumps early on, and the quarterback could be good 3-4 years down the road. But most coaching staffs, most general managers, don't have 3-4 years down the road to see if their first round or second round quarterback is going to be competent. So good for Commanders fans who get to enjoy hitting on the Rookie of the Year favorite right now.
Quickly, before you go to your next one, you brought up the idea yesterday of just buying a quarterback. And I don't know if I don't want to blow a segment for later in the week because I think there's some more meat on the bone there. But the more that I think about this and the more that I consider how the league is currently operating around young quarterbacks, the more that I'm feel like I'm in favor of, let somebody else go through the rough stuff.
Please.
You know what I'm saying? You
can keep bashing your head into a wall and trying to hit on that quarterback and get the Jaden Daniels and C.J. Stroud to be good in his rookie year.
Or you can pay Sam Darnold $8 million to come in there. And, maybe it's not what Sam Darnold is doing now because Kevin O'Connell is clearly gifted. But I feel like you could Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith your way into better quarterback play in today's league, the way that they are just churning and burning young quarterbacks. Levis I don't think that Levis is godforsaken in the NFL. I think that he can still play somewhere. I just don't think it's going to be here.
We're seeing so many teams choose, including the Titans, evaluation over results, right? It is more important to figure out what you have in this guy than finding out what gives you the best chance to win. The Colts are probably the best example of this right now.
Yeah, the Colts are the extreme, right? Yeah. Levis, if they go 1-6, pull him. You know what I'm saying? Like if they're 1-6 after Buffalo and Detroit, pull them out of there. You're going to lose the locker room. You put Mason Rudolph in. It's not a tank. I am against tanking because tanking does not get you guaranteed results. And the people that think that are absolute fools to trust the most inexact science in all of professional sports, no matter what professional sport it is, which is the draft.
M-Boy on the F&M Bank chat says, can we trade Will Levis for Justin Herbert? Yes, M-Boy, we'll get the Chargers on the horn. We'll make that happen. Last headline, positive news. 44 days after he was shot in the chest in an attempted robbery in downtown San Francisco, 49ers rookie wide receiver Ricky Pearsall returned to practice yesterday, and the notion is that he could be available. They are opening his 21-day practice window as he comes back from the reserve non-football injury list. So we'll see if he's available on Sunday, but that is awesome news. And honestly, maybe it happened so early on. It happened during the preseason, so maybe it'll get kind of swept under the rug. But that should be one of the biggest stories of the NFL this season. The fact that Ricky Pearsall was shot in the chest in an attempted robbery and left the hospital 2 days later, and 44 days after the event is back at practice. Incredible.
It's very selfish of you to take my Friday Fire.
Oh, well, Friday Fire, if you're going to take a Friday Fire that's almost a week old, then the risk is high. The risk is high for somebody to pounce on it.
Do I have things to give away?
You do have things to give away. You can get a $100 gift card to A Moment's Peace, but not just that. You would also get 2 tickets to see Post Malone at Nissan Stadium this Saturday.
All you have to do is call us 615-737-1045, but you have to give us the thing in sports that made you say, oh no. That's next.
Almost lunchtime, which means it's almost time for Hattie B's. Hey, it's Lucas Panzica. You know I would never lead you astray when it comes to food recommendations. So believe me when I say Hattie B's is the best hot chicken in Nashville. Visit any one of their 6 locations, the factory at Franklin, Lower Broadway, Melrose, Midtown, Nashville West, and the Nashville Airport. You can even find it at Nissan Stadium in Section 321 while you're watching the Tennessee Titans. Now, the Titans are away from home this weekend, so if you're having some folks over for the game and you can't go get your Hattie B's in Section 121 and 339, order it up for your watch party. Get a Feed Your Flock pack. Get friends over. Fuel your tailgate. with Hattie B's. Pick up your flock packs that feed between 4 to 8 people. Fill up your bucket of chicken with tenders or jumbo wings with your favorite heat level. And the best part is they have the best sides in town. The flock packs come with 2 quarts of the classic Hattie B sides. The pimento mac and cheese, my personal favorite. Cheese grits, collard greens, potato salad. Wash it down with a gallon of lemonade or tea. Flock packs start at just $55. They can be ordered exclusively online at HattieB.com or on the Hattie B's app. Download the app. You get a free dessert just by doing so. And make Hattie B's feed your watch party this weekend.
Welcome back to the show. We are fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. What in sports made you say, oh no, for the opportunity to win a $100 gift card from A Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa, as well as 2 tickets to Post Malone? Is it this weekend, the concert?
This Saturday.
I'll be in Buffalo, but you can be at Nissan Stadium to enjoy Post Malone. Are you ready? Let's hit it. 615-737-1045 for the opportunity to win those great prizes. Again, this segment is presented by A Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa. If you're feeling stressed about your favorite football team, A Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa will get you covered. You can visit them online, or you can win a gift card from them right here. Mine is going to make Bert happy. Bert, have you taken up against Titans fans? Have you decided to twist the knife anymore? Or are you still trying to hide behind this? Oh, I'm a nice guy. People like me. I don't want to bother them. I don't want to ruffle their feathers.
I am a nice guy. Yeah, and most Titans fans have been nothing but a pleasure for me to talk to. There's one cat I got a bet with, and I know you're listening right now. And the bet is actually closer than I would have expected. He bet me that Tony Pollard would have more all-purpose yards than Derrick Henry at the end of the year. We bet a jersey on it. I have not heard from him since week 2. Oof. So if you're out there, give me a call back. Love to hear from you, brother. I need to know your size.
Well, let me use my oh no opportunity, if you have the TikTok drop ready at your convenience, courtesy of CBS Sports. So far this season, Derrick Henry has 119 rushing attempts. He has 704 rushing yards, leads the league. He's averaging damn near 6 yards per attempt, 5.9. CBS Sports did a graphic comparing Will Levis's statistics to Derrick Henry's. So again, 119 attempts, 704 rushing yards, 5.9 yards per attempt. Will Levis this season, 125 passing attempts, 699 passing yards in 5 games. I add parenthetically, and even worse than that, 5.6 yards per attempt, 0.3 yards less per attempt than Derrick Henry is averaging as a running back. That is what made me say, oh no. That is embarrassing. That I don't know that there's a more embarrassing thing out there about them right now. Not the memes of Will Levis, not, Brian Callahan asking him, what the F are you doing? That is a humiliation. And it's not like Derrick would be doing that here, because Derrick is on a much better football team and contending for a Super Bowl. But that would make me sick to my stomach if I was a fan of this team.
You tried to do the Derrick Henry revisionist history stuff yesterday, by the way.
I'll do it again, too.
Right.
I'll do it again.
Like you weren't pounding the table on it's time for Derrick Henry to go.
Oh, I tried to get rid of him twice.
Henry's having a phenomenal season. He's averaging 5.9 yards per carry. Like, that's insane. That's insane. Over 700 yards, 8 touchdowns already. Derrick Henry is being Derrick Henry.
Is it more impressive what Derrick's doing, or worse what Levis is doing? Because those for any quarterback would be ghastly.
More impressive what Derrick is doing. Agreed. Because for a lot of people, that this is just what Levis was coming out of the draft. A lot of people are not surprised. People continue to, I guess for some reason, be surprised that Derrick Henry continues to be Derrick Henry at the age of 30. My oh no is in Dallas, because on Sunday, a very, very happy, by the way, 82nd birthday to Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. How was Jerry Jones rewarded on his 82nd birthday in Jerry World? Oof. A 47-9 blowout loss to the Detroit Lions, dropping the Cowboys to 3-3, improving Detroit to 4-1. Jerry Jones also does a weekly radio hit in Dallas, which he's got to be the only NFL owner that does that, right? A weekly radio interview in his local market?
Yes.
Got to be. Anyway, this was Jerry Jones when being pressed by the radio hosts about why the team didn't make hardly any roster moves in the offseason.
Your job isn't to let me go over all the reasons that I did something and I'm sorry that I did it. That's not your job.
Well, my job is to ask
why.
Get
a job, or I'll get somebody else to ask these questions, man.
Jerry, we're trying to figure out why the team is.
I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. You're not going to figure out what the team is doing right or wrong. If you are, or any 5 or 10 like you, You need to come to this meeting I'm going to today. There are 32 teams here. You're geniuses.
Jerry,
Okay. Y'all really think you're going to sit here with a microphone and tell me all of the things that I've done wrong and without going over the rights?
Well,
now, listen, we both know we're talking to a lot of great fans and a lot of great listeners. And I am very sorry for what happened out there Sunday. I'm sick about what happened Sunday. Now, I'm not talking to these yahoos on the end of this phone. I'm talking to you, the fans that are listening this morning.
He goes on and on. I mean, there are a lot of clips from Jerry's interview with 105.3 The Fan, but
shout out Cumulus Media sister station.
Your job is not to let me go over all the reasons that I did something. That's not your job. I'll get somebody else to ask these questions.
I don't know how I would handle a situation like that. I genuinely, because a part of me, like, I can feel like anger roiling inside me about the idea that somebody would threaten my job on air that way. But it's not like Jerry hasn't done that before. That's what Jerry Jones does as an owner of an NFL team. I don't know how I would handle a situation like that. It would be interesting. It is a big oh no, though. Bert, you got one?
I do have one. I was, I don't want to say assaulted, but I got my first game day spat this weekend at the Ravens game. So I don't know if you guys know the history between the Commanders and the Ravens, but it's the Battle of the Beltway. They're both located very close to each other. So the fans are kind of cantankerous coming into this. A lot of people work disputes, family disputes, a lot of houses divided. So we get in the stadium. I'm with my buddies. We're all hanging out. The score's tied 3-3. Commanders score a touchdown, Terry McLaurin side of the end zone, and the guy grabs my buddy and starts shaking him, going, yeah, how do you feel about that? My buddy turns around and is like, hey, man, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but don't touch me again. And not as nice of words as that, but don't touch me again. Guy backs off. Commanders score again later. Yeah, how you like that? How you like that? Hey, buddy, I'm just letting you know. My buddy is not the one. He is not the one to mess with. A tight, strong man. He could hurt someone if he wanted to. I'm trying not to cuss while
let him cook.
Tight, strong man.
He stopped cooking.
So
by the way, there's enough cooking been done around here as of late.
So the end of the game happens, and the guy comes back around to say, hey, man, I'm not the one to mess with, like making fun of him, like, oh, you don't want to mess with me. And he goes, yeah, but you remembered that, didn't you? You bleeper, bleeping, and they start bleeping at each other. The guy bucks at him like he's going to punch him, which the dumbest thing ever. Word of the wise, if you go get in a fight, don't ever pump fake somebody. Yeah. Just go ahead and hit the dude. Yeah. The dude pump faked. My buddy got ready for it, and then he swung. My buddy grabs the front of his jersey and pulls that dude down. His head bounces off of a chair. Oh. He falls through. He lost the height advantage. No. Security comes, separates everybody. His nose is busted open. He's like, yeah, you like that? I was like, well, the Commanders lost, and your face is bleeding. So my oh no is the fact that guy will never be able to go to a Ravens game again. Good for him.
Giving up the high ground in a stadium fight, losing proposition every time. We'll get your phone calls on what in sports made you say, oh no, coming up next for the opportunity to win 2 tickets to Post Malone at Nissan Stadium this coming Saturday, as well as a $100 gift card courtesy of a Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa.
11:01, good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. Breaking news in the NFL this morning. The New York Jets are finalizing a trade for Raiders wide receiver Davante Adams. According to a report by Adam Schefter, it'll be for a conditional third-round pick that can go to a second-rounder, and the Jets will assume the remainder of Adams' salary. The move reunites Adams with Aaron Rodgers, his quarterback in Green Bay, and it comes the morning after the Jets fell to the Bills 23-20 on Monday Night Football, moving the Bills to the top of the AFC East and dropping the Jets to 2-4. The Nashville Predators are back home tonight hosting the Seattle Kraken as the 0-2 Preds are looking for their first win of the season. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. at Bridgestone Arena. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
That's more like it. Welcome back here on 104.5 The Zone. It's Lucas, it's Bert, it's me until 1 o'clock. We got your phone calls on what in sports made you say, oh no, this week for the opportunity to win a $100 gift card from a Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa, as well as 2 tickets to Post Malone at Nissan Stadium this coming Saturday. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. The F&M Bank chat is also at your disposal at any point throughout the course of the show to comment as you please. We're going to talk about, it says in the show rundown, Callahan versus Levis. Lucas, before I get back to the oh no calls, would you like to contextualize Callahan versus Levis a little more?
Yeah, that's more for us than anything, right? But Will Levis had some comments about the interception that he threw on Sunday, that he mentioned his shoulder injury and how that may have impacted the throw. And we've heard from Brian Callahan talking about how Will Levis's health, his shoulder injury, may or may not have impacted his performance on Sunday. And the answers were somewhat conflicting. Now, it's worth noting Callahan was not asked specifically about the interception, but more just largely was he healthy enough to play. So we'll get to both of those pieces of audio.
The news of the day, if you missed it, I would be surprised if you missed it at this point. About 2 hours ago, Ian Rappaport did put out there that Davante Adams is being traded from the Vegas Raiders to the New York Jets. That is the second trade of consequence so far. Jags selling parts yesterday. They traded a defensive tackle to the Chargers, Bert? No, Seahawks. Thank you for that quick correction. And the Raiders, who are not, completely lost at this point, but, Davante Adams being interested in a trade and the New York Jets being desperate to satiate all things Aaron Rodgers, have made that trade. Will the Titans make a trade now that they are 1-4? Things to keep an eye on in the next 3 weeks from today, which is when the NFL trade deadline will come to pass. What in sports made you say, oh no? What game are you playing with the callers today? Because for a while it was, what's your name and what do you do for a living? You've changed the game.
I'm always changing the game, but mostly I got bored with asking what people do as an occupation, so I just started asking them what they're wearing.
That sounds like an HR violation.
Oh, they don't work here, so who are they going to complain to?
Me. I hope that they complain to me, and then I'll complain to HR, and then there will be consequences. Let's start with Laura up first. Hello, Laura. I hope that Bert did not offend you.
He did not offend me. It takes a lot more than that to offend me.
What do you got for us?
Well, aside from the Levis interception at the end, which literally made me jump up from my table, the other thing was the Dodgers tying the postseason record for 33 scoreless innings and then leaving the tying run on base in the 8th inning last night. That just about killed me. So that was my oh no moment, was them leaving those tying runs after those 2 stolen bases in the 8th inning and leaving them on base and then losing that game last night.
It's a great
Sorry,
one.
Mets fans.
And make sure to stay on hold there, Laura, for the opportunity to win those tickets.
You didn't even say what she was wearing.
Laura in gym clothes.
Wearing her gym clothes.
I hate you so much. Has anybody done a wellness check on Jimmy Wyatt? Because that's who I'm worried about most.
Oh, with the Dodgers?
Yeah.
No, I would like to think that Jim is letting the joy of what Vanderbilt is doing overwhelm any disappointment in the Dodgers.
I think that you have vastly underestimated Jimmy's love of the Dodgers. He loves them as much as Vanderbilt.
No, I know. I see the visor.
Brittany is up next. Hey, Brittany.
Brittany in a Titans jersey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well.
No, I'm in a Mama Bear shirt.
A Mama Bear shirt? I'm unfamiliar.
Yes. I have a little 4-year-old son, and I have a mom. It's a big bear, and it says Mama on it.
Nice.
It's your typical corny mom shirt.
Nothing wrong with that. Brittany, what do you got for us?
So my dad gave up his season ticket so my husband, who is a Colts fan, could go to the game with me this past Sunday, and had to sit there for 3 hours hoping they would win. And, of course, they did not, and we had to ride all the way home with him talking smack again. And might I add, my husband comes to a game once every 4 years. So that's my oh no for this week.
That is a very trying time for you. It also sounds like a trying time for your relationship, so I'm sorry, Brittany, that sounds terrible.
Sounds like it's about to be a trying time for that couch. Boy, better get that extra pillow out. Get them blankets. Be ready.
Sounds like he could use that gift card to a Moment's Peace salon and day spa.
No, it sounds like she could use that.
well, what I meant was he could use it to give to her.
Yes.
Still sleeping on that couch.
No, I think he should have to, come out of pocket for that if that's the kind of thing that you're going to put your significant other through. Jared is up next in a hoodie and hoochie daddy shorts. What's happening, Jared?
Not a lot. Look, I just want to clarify they're extra long hoochie daddy shorts.
Well, then they're not hoochie daddy shorts. That's not how that works.
I got to fit in Belmead.
In Belmead. Are you kidding me? The shorts are never shorter than when they're in Belmead.
All right, my big oh-no for the week, guys, has got to be Aiden Hutchinson going down because I think it's going to heat up the trade market that potentially the Titans could even be involved in sending somebody there possibly.
Yeah, it's something to keep an eye on as we get closer and closer to the deadline at this point.
So the Lions did sign Isaiah Thomas off the Bengals practice squad to add another pass rusher to that unit. They lost 2 yesterday in the game.
The second most famous Isaiah Thomas in the city of Detroit.
Correct.
No way is Jake from State Farm on the line in a sweatshirt and khakis. Jake, you're up next.
Mine is the Ravens fan walking down, punching Washington fans in the face.
Oh, so Bert's fight, the fight that broke out around Robert Walsh.
Is this your buddy? Is it the same guy?
Nah, he didn't sound tough enough. Need to have a little more gristle than your voice.
I was about to say, that doesn't sound like somebody who grabbed the front of a Commanders fan's jersey and slammed his face into a seat.
No, I'm saying, is it the same person? That guy that was walking around just punching Commanders fans? Is that your buddy?
No.
Fought off a Commanders fan in the stadium.
The internet is so powerful. Did you guys know that they found that guy, found his name, found his Facebook?
The Commanders fan?
No, the Ravens fan. I assume Buck has not seen this video.
The one Jake was talking about. You didn't... Jake... There is a video coming out.
Are you not talking about? Is he not talking about the fight
about the same guy?
This is like the Spider-Man meme.
I'm caught
dude.
up. Okay, my bad.
No, okay. So to fill you in, Buck, after the game, there was a Ravens fan who was out on the streets of Baltimore and fighting every Commanders fan he saw. There's a video of him. He picks one dude up, slams him, cold cocks the other dude, wham, knocks him out, and it's just a video of him being like, "I don't lose,"
like seeking them out.
Yes. So what happened was the internet found who this guy was, everything about him, where he worked. He worked at an insurance. He worked. I'll put that in past tense at an insurance adjustment company. So found this guy out, got him fired. I think he got broke up with. They got his dog taken away from him. The dude has nothing left, and on top of all that, can't go to a Ravens game again.
Oh, is he banned?
He's banned.
Shouldn't he be?
Oh, yeah.
He's out here just assaulting people in the street for their clothing choices. Okay, so that's a pretty good nominee. Who's it going to? Is it going to Laura, Brittany, Jared, or Jake? Lucas?
I think Brittany, because she could use that gift card, and I'd love to send her to Post Malone.
Okay, well, that is...
Give it to Mama Bear.
All right, Mama Bear it is. Congratulations to Brittany. You can always call us at 10:45 on Tuesdays for the opportunity to win cool prizes. It's not the only giveaway we're going to do this week. We have the dumbest thing in sports this week coming up tomorrow. We also have Friday Fire. So make sure you stay tuned for the opportunity to win all kinds of cool prizes. And congratulations to Brittany. I hope you enjoy the concert. So we will dive into, we'll give ourselves a little more time to dive into this Callahan and Levis stuff. Coming up next, we will also describe or discuss what's letting the Vols offense down. It's not just the Titans that are struggling on offense. It's the Tennessee Volunteers as well. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. Rain-X Premium Silicone Advantage Edge wiper blades are engineered to withstand the most extreme conditions. Rain-X Premium Silicone Advantage wiper blades last 2 times longer than traditional wipers. For a limited time, save $16 per pair on Rain-X Silicone Advantage wiper blades, plus get 2 times O rewards points. And when you purchase the blades with O'Reilly Auto Parts, their professional parts people will install them for free. O'Reilly Auto Parts is celebrating the 25th anniversary of their famous jingle, and they want you to be a part of the celebration. We want you to submit a cover of the jingle, a remix, or your own choreographed dance. You can win exclusive merchant prizes, including 3 $5,000 grand prize winners from O'Reilly Auto Parts. So submit your video to O'ReillyJingleContest.com now. Again, O'ReillyJingleContest.com now through October 31st. Terms and conditions do apply. No purchase necessary. You know we're doing a professional broadcast, a quote-unquote professional broadcast right now, right?
What? What's wrong?
What are you eating?
Hot fries. I'm done. All right, I put them away.
How many bags
Open
of
your mouth.
Oh.
Open your mouth.
It's a new high-def camera. The face that he just made, that is for sure going to get screenshot. That is going to get gifted and dragged across the surface of the internet.
These are so good.
You ate 500 calories worth of hot fries, which is, by the way, not a ton of hot fries. It's just 2 bags.
Yeah,
That's
I'm not done with
disgusting.
this bag yet, so I'm probably at like 480 calories.
Take a breath, bud.
I think these are what you call empty calories.
Literally the definition. Welcome back to the show. We are fueled not by hot fries, but by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. 615-737-1045 is the number. So, Callahan and Levis, and it's not the first time that this has happened to Brian Callahan, but it's the first time that it's happened with the quarterback because people are now hyper-focused on everything that these individuals are saying. Understandably so. Will Levis, heading into last Sunday's game, Brian Callahan got up at the podium, this would have been Monday or Wednesday of last week, and said that Will Levis would practice, but that he would probably be limited in practice as his designation. Will Levis was not limited at any point last week in practice. He was listed as a full participant. So, okay, is it at the end of the world? No, but all right, what happened there? Did you misread an email or did you think that he was going to be worse off than he actually was? What happened? Just curious. And then
Misread an email.
I don't know. Is the training staff not sending emails to the coach at some point? Probably maybe a text. Anyway. So then he goes through the game, Levis does. The game plan is quote unquote conservative according to the head coach by design. And on a couple moments where Levis is pushing the ball down the field, it hasn't been effective all year long, but it looks less. Like he doesn't look totally right out there.
Well, let's just talk about the one moment that Levis talked about.
The interception. So Will Levis, there's 2 plays, right? There's the actual interception, and then there's the play that the Colts defender dropped earlier in the game that should have been an interception. And on both plays, Levis is not affected. The throw is not affected, and he's not under very much pressure in this game against the Colts. So Levis is asked about this specific interception, and he brings up his shoulder injury, which is, of course, the sprained AC joint.
I think I could have given myself some more depth away. Peter came up, told me he got a little push, but, I can't let that be the reason for a pick. But that was one of the throws today where I kind of felt the lack of arm strength or whatever, where I feel like a healthier day, I'm putting a better ball on it on more of a line. So it's frustrating. We were able to get the ball back and still get an opportunity after that where we didn't make it work. But yes, that's a throw I'd like to have back for sure.
On a healthier day, I'd like to think that's a throw I'd put more on him. Okay, so you're affected by the injury that didn't cause you to be limited at any point throughout the course of the week the way the coach said that you would be limited at some point during the week. Whatever, healthy enough to play. Plenty of guys are hurt. Are you hurt or are you injured? There's a 100% chance of injury in the NFL, all these different cliches you hear. And you have to play through stuff at some point. That's fine. But then, and Bert, if you're ready for this, just let me know. Brian Callahan is asked about, was Levis healthy enough to play out there? He brought up that his shoulder may have given him some trouble specifically on the interception. This was the head coach yesterday at his press conference.
Everything leading up to the game and in practice and everything felt like he's good enough to make the throws that he needed to make to win the game. And I didn't have any reservations necessarily about that. I didn't think there was any real ill effect. I knew there was going to be some pain. That's just part of it. I appreciate him trying to manage that and fight through it for his teammates and for our team. I didn't see anything that would have made me feel like he wasn't able or willing to actually be able to play at the level he needed to play at. That throw at the interception, he had pressure kind of in his face, and he couldn't quite get everything into it anyway. I don't know that an arm strength or a healthy shoulder would have made much of a difference, truthfully. But he's whatever he had to say is how he felt. But I didn't feel anything going into the week that would lead me to believe that he wasn't ready to make all the throws.
All right. So is that a big deal? Because I don't. I don't hear it and say red flags, head coach and quarterback not on the same page. I just, I hear a quarterback say, yeah, if I'm 100% healthy, then maybe I have a better ball, which is a completely fair thing to say. And then Callahan saying, yeah, I didn't have any reservations about calling plays. He was healthy enough.
I would push back. The only issue to me is Will Levis saying, I think on a healthier day, I can put that more on the line. Because watching that play, and I've had to wait to hear the likes of Blaine Bishop and smarter football people than I to sort of confirm this in my head. Because when I watch that play, I watch Will Levis hang in the pocket a little too long, kind of pat the ball, kind of stare down Ridley, allow time for the safety to get over, and then throw an underthrown ball to Calvin Ridley that gets picked off. That's what I saw in that play. I did not watch that play and say, yeah, he probably makes that throw if he's healthy.
No.
I saw the timing be the issue on that play. And even if that wasn't the case, I feel like that's just not something you say at a press conference. I just don't think people want to hear that. I don't know. I feel like that should be a blanket thing of using that excuse post game. Yeah, if I was healthy, I would have made that throw. I just not a fan of that. But I watch that play and I see the timing. I see Levis waiting too long to make the throw, allowing the safety to get over as the primary reasons why he threw that pick, not health.
So is it an excuse or is it an explanation? Because to me, it sounds like an excuse. There have been plenty of opportunities where Levis's shoulder has been fully healthy and he's been inaccurate down the field, specifically in targeting Calvin Ridley. His being late on throws is not new. That's something that's been the book on him since he's come into the NFL, and he's just being exposed more on a regular basis this year than he is last year. I'm not saying, again, to rehash a bit of our conversation yesterday, I don't 100% put the blame on that loss, for that loss on Will Levis. I think there's plenty of blame to go around in all different sides. But that specific play, brother, I've seen you be inaccurate with your shoulder perfectly fine. I've seen you underthrow. I've seen you overthrow. I've seen you have trouble with Calvin Ridley all year long trying to figure this thing out, whether that's because of Ridley, things that Ridley is doing on certain plays, or because things that Levis is doing on certain plays, or things that a perfect storm of both, right? The Venn diagram type of thing. That to me is an excuse. So it's not because I saw some Titans fans being like, oh, well, Callahan's not on the same page as his quarterback. No. Don't make that. Maybe there are some other things down the road that you can identify clearly and obviously that indicate that the quarterback and the coach are not on the same page. No, that to me is the quarterback. And maybe he didn't do it intentionally, but it doesn't matter because that's the way that it comes across to a fan base who is not interested in either explanations or excuses at this point. They don't care what you say at a press conference anymore. They're just saying win. And, in less kind terms than what I've just said. So, Levis saying more things at a press conference than your average quarterback is not new. I do think that he has a degree of transparency, but are you willing to hear the transparency if that's what the transparency sounds like? That's just the question that you got to ask yourself as a Titans fan or as a media member. Like, are you good with the fact that he says stuff? He does say things. Like Ryan Tannehill and Marcus Mariota. Well, Marcus, I think, was unintentionally uninteresting. I think that's just who Marcus is, respectfully. Ryan Tannehill made me crazy because I know that Ryan Tannehill has more personality and more things there, but he's a veteran quarterback who came from a bigger market than this one in Miami and was used to getting dragged for saying way less inflammatory things than, Mentorgate, if you'll remember that. Veteran quarterbacks are as intentionally uninteresting as any person out there because it leaves you open to criticism that way. It's an excuse by Levis. Whether it's a fair excuse or not, it's an excuse. Now, from Titans, and you can interact if you want, 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in there at your convenience. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is where you can chime in on the F&M Bank chat before we pivot to talking about the Vols and their offensive struggles. The quarterback and being on the same page as the coach is one thing. The other thing that occurred to me yesterday that we didn't really talk about, maybe we did briefly, but I don't think that we spent much time on it. The fact that, and this is unrelated to Levis and Callahan and what we've just talked about here, But, Lucas, they are 1-4. How many of those losses have come at home?
3, right?
3 home games.
Yeah, 3, and also 3 one-score losses, including 1 on the road.
3 one-score losses.
So 2 of the 3 home losses by 1 score.
You've played 5 games. 3 of them have been at home. You are winless as an organization at home after your head coach. And this is what head coaches say when they get a new job, and the thing that they should say, because they have to help in the process of selling tickets too, that he wanted to make this one of the most fearsome environments in the NFL, and all they've done is lose games at home.
Yeah, and now you're going on the road for 2 straight weeks to Buffalo and Detroit.
What is that stadium going to look like when they host the New England Patriots?
To Drake May jerseys? I don't know.
615-737-1045 is how you jump in. Okay, so Vols win over the weekend. They beat a bad Florida team. They barely beat a bad Florida team. They survive a bad Florida team, and really, largely by the grace of Billy Napier's coaching mistakes, do they survive, because their offense wasn't winning them a game. 23-17 the final. Beating Florida at home in not back-to-back years, but 2 wins at home over Florida in the last 3 years. The last one over Anthony Richardson. This one over a team that saw its starting quarterback get injured. Graham Mertz outplayed Nico Iamaleava, though, before the injury. Concerning. Nico not throwing a touchdown pass in this game. Being inaccurate. Lacking consistency. Another head coach who's an offensive play caller pulling the reins in on a young quarterback or on an inexperienced quarterback in this spot, and now getting ready to host Alabama at home in a game that you have to win. If you don't win this game, your playoff hopes are done, because you're not winning at Georgia in November on the road.
Yeah, you'd have to win out. Yeah, you would have to win out. This is essentially, it's not like literally an elimination game, but it's essentially an elimination for both teams.
It's an elimination. Oh, yeah, for sure. Because Alabama is having, as we discussed yesterday briefly, Alabama having the same conversation after surviving at home, basically the same thing, surviving South Carolina at home, and South Carolina missing some opportunities to put a reeling Bama team away after they dropped that game here in Nashville to Vanderbilt. So, as you look at the Vols and what's letting the Vols offense down, is there something that you've identified? Because I almost think that we could have the parallel conversation of what we've just talked with Brian Callahan and Will Levis, the vicious cycle of trusting the quarterback, as you articulated yesterday, trusting the quarterback, but trying to find out. Still, don't trust the quarterback, but we still have to find out. All these different things. What do you think it is?
I don't think it's quite the same. I don't think Josh Heupel pulled the reins back on Nico very much on Saturday. They uncorked a few deep balls on Saturday that they just didn't hit on. And a lot of people have bemoaned play calling, and maybe there are a few things that Heupel can do to help Nico, to give him some easier answers, because it does feel like in several moments they're either going deep or they're throwing screens or they're throwing a 35-yard crosser across the middle, right? I feel like maybe there are a few more things Heupel can do to give Nico some easier answers, but Nico has just flat out missed a couple of deep touchdowns. There was one drop by Chaz Nimrod on Saturday that could have helped the Vols get into field goal range before overtime and just won the game in regulation. So he wasn't helped out there. Pass protection has absolutely been an issue. If it hasn't been Lance Hurd, then it's been John Campbell. There's been some good moments from Lance Hurd. There have been some dreadful moments from Hurd, and John Campbell has struggled as well. Untimely penalties, setting them back, and it feels like, for example, the opening drive Saturday, I mean, the first 3-4 plays you're watching and saying, okay, here we go. They're back. They're back in a groove, because they were running tempo. They were spreading the ball around, running the football. And it feels like every time Tennessee settles into that tempo, something goes wrong. Nico fumbles at the mesh point on a handoff. A holding call makes it 2nd and 15 and essentially kills your tempo, and it kills the drive, and you're not able to overcome it. So it's been a few different things. Dylan Sampson is this team's saving grace, this team's best player right now. He is arguably the best running back in the SEC, and he's on pace to shatter the single-season rushing touchdown record for Tennessee. But the reason I'm not hitting the panic button on this team is because you look around, and this season is simply about surviving and advancing. They did that on Saturday, and they've got a lot of things to fix. Alabama's got a lot of things to fix. A lot of fundamental issues, defensive miscues that need to be fixed. Georgia just gave up 30 to the worst team in the SEC at home in Mississippi State and got out of there with a 10-point victory. Georgia's got things to work on, and they've got a loss on their schedule. Texas is the only unbeaten team in this league right now, and we've known Texas to slip up against inferior opponents in the past. Now, that probably doesn't have any effect on this year, but they've got Georgia this weekend, and then who?
I don't know.
Vanderbilt.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they're doing the Alabama thing where they're playing Georgia and then turning around and playing Vanderbilt. So,
yeah, the thing that makes me, a little more, I'm the only team that I know to be good, like definitively good or better than the rest of them in the SEC is Texas, because Quinn Ewers played a terrible game against Oklahoma on Saturday, and Oklahoma's defense will do that to a lot of people, and they still rolled Oklahoma.
Well, he started shaky and he settled in, but he is the guy. I mean, there's not going to be any controversy there about Arch Manning starting for Texas. They are rolling right now. But there are slip-up opportunities for Texas, and I'm willing to say I'll be surprised if Texas runs the table and goes undefeated this year. I will be surprised. They have to play Georgia. They have to go to Vanderbilt. It's just amazing that we're even mentioning that. They
have to go to Vanderbilt.
Nobody gets out of that construction site in one piece.
It's just the fact that they walked those uprights out of the stadium because it's an active construction site. Like that, the irony of that is so Vanderbilt football that I love it. It gives me life.
No, it's great, and it's honestly been really fun to see this kind of revival for Vanderbilt this year. They go to Arkansas, Texas does. They host Kentucky, and they go to Texas A&M to finish the season, and that crowd at Kyle Field is going to be bloodthirsty, and that's a good football team. That's a top 15 football team, A&M, that's just been quietly winning since that Week 1 loss to Notre Dame, and is quietly one of the most talented teams in the country. I'll be very surprised if any SEC team finishes this year undefeated. Texas is the only one left. Survive and advance. There are things to fix. And could the offensive issues continue to downturn for Tennessee? Absolutely. Could they also figure it out? Do they have the pieces to figure it out? Yes, they do. And they have the head coach to figure it out. So I'm not willing to hit the panic button quite yet, but there's no question that Saturday is a massive, massive game for Tennessee's playoff hopes. Why are you making a face?
Oh, because I had forgotten that Alabama beat Georgia. I was like, is Georgia okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted
Georgia is not undefeated.
I was just double checking the standings real quick.
In fact, I think I know the problem. I think I know what Tennessee needs more of, and I think I know what the Titans need, and that is a dancing kid.
A dancing kid? What, this kid that went viral that's being interviewed on Good Morning America and getting a profile piece written in the Knoxville News Sentinel about him by our buddy Mike Wilson. This dancing kid is the saving grace of everybody?
That completely turned the tide on Saturday.
Why not the Hawk-Tua girl? She was at Neyland on Saturday.
Well, why don't we just let dancing Neyland Stadium kid Kaysen lay out Tennessee's problems during a radio appearance on WIVK in Knoxville this week?
Oh, my God.
Anything else going you want to get off your chest while you're at the game? Anything else?
We didn't play great.
Yeah.
Offense wasn't good. Mm-hmm. We got lucky.
If you were to talk to the coach right now, say Heupel was in here right now, what would you say to Coach Heupel?
Tell his offensive coordinator to open up the playbook.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Josh. Don't. But it really need to open up the playbook.
Don't hate.
It's just up the middle, back to back, and then try to take a shot, and it's incomplete. It's punt 3-0.
Yeah.
So we need to open up the playbook, but defense ain't playing at its best either.
There you go.
I love him so much for that.
Kaysen the Dancing Kid. If anybody hasn't seen this, do yourself a favor. Just Google Tennessee Dancing Kid and watch the moves this guy was putting on, because every time the camera panned to him in the Jumbotron, people that were at the game have told me, oh no, that completely energized the crowd. Like, that's when things started to go well for Tennessee, and the ESPN broadcast would pan over to him. This kid was putting on the moves. He helped Tennessee win that game. You cannot convince me otherwise. Tennessee needs more of Kaysen the Dancing Kid. Titans need one too.
Hey, I know that Buck is not a big fan of kids, but we should get this guy on the show.
No.
Let's get Kaysen.
Yep.
No, the only kid that I'm good with on the show is our buddy Micah, because Micah is a 75-year-old man and a.
It's actually pronounced Mika. You've been pronouncing it wrong the whole time. Yeah, it's not true. I just lied to you. But we should get this Kaysen cat on.
Also, I hope Landon is not listening as you say that, because Landon is an all-time favorite. We love you, Landon. Hope to have you back soon.
Yeah,
what a rotten thing you just did to me there. What a rotten thing you did.
But I just love how matter-of-fact Kaysen was when he just, got to open up the playbook.
Is it wrong?
Run up the middle. Deep shot, incomplete, punt, 3 and out. Got to open up the playbook. I just love how just direct, straight to the point. Tennessee needs more dancing kid. But no, the point is survive and advance. That's what this season is. There's more parity than we've ever seen. I mean,
I love it. This is exactly what I wanted college football to be. It's soaked in corporate greed. Nothing matters. None of the traditions. All of the walls have been torn down, but there's chaos across the board, and that's exactly what I wanted.
Well, you don't have any teams that have the luxury of stacking elite depth the way Alabama did for so many years and the way Georgia did in the Kirby Smart era in the last few years before the portal really just ramped up, because those players are leaving and they're going to other places, and you're seeing the effects of it. You are. I don't know who the bona fide. You have Texas and Oregon and kind of everybody else. I think Ohio State should still be up there because that was just an incredible game where that wasn't like a Tennessee, Florida, just somebody's got to escape. That was just two teams just executing at a high level, and
but
somebody has to win.
The Ohio State quarterback,
yeah,
the way
Will
that
Howard.
He ended that game. Will Howard, that was, and you could tell he knew exactly what he did as soon as he started to slide.
Yeah, he thought, that's got to be tough because 6 seconds is right there where you have a timeout. You can run a 4-second play, get down, call the timeout, kick the game-winning field goal, and he just took 1 second too long, ran out the clock. But Ohio State very much still a national title contender. So it's spread all over the place. Tennessee has fallen out of the top 10. They are probably not in the national championship contender conversation for a lot of people like they were 3 weeks ago, and that's probably fair. But everything is still there in front of them. There are things to fix on offense, absolutely. And Alabama's the next opportunity to do it. Alabama's got a lot of their own issues as well, and a lot of parallels between the conversations happening in Knoxville and in Tuscaloosa this week.
615-737-1045 is the number. We will get back to some more Vols and the adjusted expectations, if there are any, coming out of that Florida win. They host Alabama this weekend. You can hear it right here on 1045 The Zone. The Fall Network coverage begins at what time, Lucas?
Vol Network coverage. Oh, let me pull it up just to make sure.
That's fine. But coming up next, while Lucas is looking that up,
12:30.
Titans fans craved national attention for their football team. You have gotten the national attention. It is not what you seek. You're going to hear from Stephen A. Smith on the Titans coming up next. Welcome back to the show. We are fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. 615-737-1045 is the number. So what do I hear every year, every summer, when it comes to discourse about the Titans in an upcoming season? What's the line? Anybody in the class tell me?
Oh, you're not hearing it right now.
No, because you can't run away fast enough from it. But what is the line that we get from a lot of Titans fans? In fact, we got it very stridently this year because Vegas gave them a projected win total of what?
What was it, 6.5?
6.5. That might be generous at this point. We thought it was easy money, just like you thought Alabama plus or minus 22.5 was easy money against Vandy.
Free money, I said.
Free, loudly, with your chest into the microphone. And then the most improbable thing in the history of college football happened, which is what makes college football great, by the way.
And you had Diego Pavia screaming into Alyssa Lang's microphone, Vandy, we bleep and turn.
Yeah, that's right. Unbelievable.
That was awesome.
So, national attention is something that Titans fans, whether, it's a majority or it's just something that people on the internet say because it's something that everybody says in the offseason when you feel like your team is being doubted. I get it, okay? I'm not here to drag you for it. But when you pine as much for national attention as this fan base does, and you get it, but it's not what you wanted, it tends to blow up in your face that way. Stephen A. Smith, the Titans were a talking point yesterday on First Take. Why? Because Calvin Ridley, ESPN called it a tirade. It wasn't a tirade. Calvin Ridley made some very good points about why it is that he is not being consistent within the offense. Well-made points, not a shot at the coach, not a shot at the quarterback, just generally saying, hey, I can't get into a rhythm here, and then you're force-feeding me 5 targets with 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Nonsense. So they're talking about Calvin Ridley's comments on First Take. And then on the way out the door, Stephen A. Smith has some parting shots for Will Levis.
New to the Will Levis party. Because if you know anything about this party, they're not very good.
How the hell he get these commercials then, man?
He eats
see, that's the problem with America.
He's got taste
that's the
buds
problem
like
with
Tanner
America
last
right
week.
there. Right there's the problem with America. We got to stop rewarding mediocrity. You understand what I'm trying to say? You should be able to accomplish it. How you gonna get a mayonnaise commercial? You understand? And you looking like, and you playing like that? Right. I mean, come on.
We gotta
come on.
We should start in Dallas.
You remember when he did the mayonnaise stuff? And I said, I'm, as somebody who is also mediocre and makes money doing ads, like, I get it. I'll be hypocritical, though, when I say that what is a 3-win quarterback doing selling me anything right now? And that's the grouchy old media person in me. And now here we are, 6 weeks into the NFL season. He has another win on his record, but it's Mason Rudolph's win. Levis is 0-3 at home. He is leading the NFL in turnovers, and he continually is the laughingstock of the internet. And Lucas, I sent you guys this clip, not this Stephen A. Smith thing that you just heard, but this clip from the pre-draft process. It's Will Levis at the Manning Passing Academy, okay? So this is years ago, but it is foreshadowing in ways that you couldn't write a script this good.
So this is like a panel, Peyton, Eli, and Archie, and there's a bunch of quarterbacks. They're in a classroom, it seems like, and they're doing a Q&A with the quarterbacks.
Yeah, and listen, Levis is marketable, and again, I say to you, as somebody who makes money doing ads, I am pro-capitalism that way, and he's trending sure as hell not towards a $50 million, $60 million contract, so tough for me to begrudge him making all the money that he can while he can. But this is a Q&A session with a bunch of draft-eligible quarterbacks, and Peyton, Eli, and Archie. Will Levis raises his hand to ask a question of Peyton Manning. Here's the audio.
What advice do you have on the marketing side and maximizing those opportunities while at the same time maintaining the notion of your mind's in the right place and you're a quarterback?
Look, trust me, I've done my share of commercials, right? No doubt about it. But all right, okay, now there's a time and a place for all of it, right? But let's make the football the priority number one. Don't give anybody a chance to say, I wasn't all in on football.
How about that for foreshadowing?
Yeah.
And listen, I don't question his work ethic. I think that dude busts his ass. I just think it's not working. So it's an easy thing, but Peyton Manning is telling him, hey man, if if it doesn't matter how hard you work, if you give them the opportunity to bury you, they'll bury you. And that's exactly what happened on ESPN yesterday. And by the way, and I know that this, I know that this is not something that Titans fans want to hear, and maybe you think it's convenient, but that's the exact same thing Mike Vrabel said to him. It's the exact same thing.
I get so conflicted on this because it is easy to say, hey, man, why don't you worry about the football, worry about being a marketable NFL quarterback before worrying about the marketing stuff. But then if you don't make it as an NFL quarterback, then you lose your opportunity for the marketing stuff. Yeah. And that's a whole bunch of money that you could have made, and you're not making it in the NFL. So I get so conflicted on telling somebody, and it's not like Will Levis should have the mindset of, well, this doesn't look like it's going great for me, so I better maximize all these opportunities. But it's also hard for me to look at someone.
Thinking about it the entire time.
Yeah, I know clearly.
And and that's, he's very marketable, right? Like, he looks like he should be pulled from central casting to play an NFL quarterback. That's exactly what he looks like. And I'm watching Monday Night Football last night, and I see that damn, find your Zen or whatever the hell it is, control your chaos mayonnaise commercial with Will Levis. And I'm just like, get him off my screen. Again, I'm a hypocrite for saying that. I'm mediocre. I do ads. Like, I totally understand that. But you give people the opportunity to burn you down, especially when clips like that are out there from years ago, and it's not the only question that he asked of Peyton Manning, but it's the easiest one to find, of Will Levis asking Peyton Manning about marketing opportunities at the Manning Passing Academy.
But then if Levis flames out, right, if Levis is out of the NFL in 4 years, I know I'll be sitting here and be like, well, I'm happy. I'm glad for him that
I am too.
Got into that deal.
I will be too. But
because it's not like that prevents you from being an NFL quarterback. No. I understand what Peyton's message makes sense there, but like, you're going to make it or you're not. And I get some quarterbacks' heads are in the right place and some are not. But I believe Levis's head is in the right place. Like, everybody believes that. Okay. In terms of.
In fact, that very thing is the subject of all the conversations around him.
What I'm saying is, in terms of just wanting to be good, willing to put in the work to be good. Yes, I know that we can get into the mental stuff with Levis and too high and too low. That's been a conversation the whole way. But like, Levis is not lazy. Levis is not, the guy wants to be good at football, right? First one in, last one out, all of those things.
But he wants all of the other stuff at the same time before he has achieved the good at football part. And that is the thing that it doesn't matter how you and I view the monetization of it, because there are fair points that you're making. There are fans that will resent him for that. There are players who will resent him for that. And that is the thing that you open yourself up to when you don't have a win on the season. You do have a win on the season, but it's the Miami Dolphins win, and there's not a more fraudulent thing to assign to a quarterback than 3 of 4 for 25 yards and a pick to a defensive lineman before you get bounced halfway through the first quarter because you banged up your shoulder diving for a first down.
It's damned if you do, damned if you don't, this situation, right?
No, it's not. The decision is, he's not making first-round money. So, like, there is something to be said about a second-round player trying to maximize his marketing opportunities, but the damned if you do, damned if you don't situation doesn't apply if you just wait. And I know that's unfair because you're talking to especially kids coming out of college with name, image, and likeness opportunities. These kids are more adept at marketing than you and I are, than the vast majority of people who work in these industries.
Yeah, but you can just wait, and then it doesn't work out for you in football, and then all those millions of dollars of marketing opportunities are gone because you're not in the NFL anymore. So you can't just wait. So that's why I say he's damned if you do, damned if you don't. I don't know if Levis, he might still be a good quarterback in this league. It's not looking great, but if he's not, then it's damned if you do, because you do the commercials and you maximize that as much as possible, and people are going to probably rightfully criticize you for it. And it's damned if you don't, because you don't, and then you're out of the league and you miss out on all that money and that opportunity. So it's quite a conundrum.
615-737-1045 is the number. We can take your phone calls on this coming up next. We can also talk about Rand Carthon. This man, Rand Carthon, and the whole Let Rand Cook thing, it's a fun phenomenon, right? We did the whole bit with Rand at the Install Live, and Bert had the chef's hat hidden under his seat, and it was a funny moment at a time when you're still in the honeymoon phase. But let's go back and review how much of the things that they set out to accomplish actually got accomplished based on where this team is right now, and we'll do that coming up next. Lake lovers, listen up. Tennessee National, a highly anticipated lakefront resort, golf, and marina community, is having a fall sales event, releasing a limited number of lake lots to the public with upgrades and savings. One day only, Saturday, October 26th. Lake Townhome upgrades, outdoor living space upgrades, plus 2 years free boat rentals, plus 2 years free social membership. Home site and golf savings, $10,000 off golf membership, plus 50% off a brand new golf cart. How about that? Home site and lake amenities, 2 years free pontoon rentals, plus 2 years free social membership. Private golf cart access to a new marina and resort, 10 miles of walking trails, 3.5 miles of shoreline, brand new 26,000 square foot clubhouse, waterfront concerts overlooking a beautiful lake, pickleball pools, on-site coffee shop, and so much more. Play on the lake or simply relax at the waterfront restaurant just over 20 minutes from Knoxville, Tennessee. Financing is available. Call to secure your private tour. Times are limited. Enjoy life on the water, fresh air, boat rides, and sunshine. Celebrate the lake life and make memories. Limited property release Saturday, October 26th. Visit us at TennesseeNational.com, or better yet, give us a call, 865-408-9992. Memories begin here.
12:02, good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. Breaking news in the NFL this morning. The New York Jets are finalizing a trade for Raiders wide receiver Davante Adams. According to a report by Adam Schefter, it'll be for a conditional third rounder that can go to a second rounder, and the Jets will assume the remainder of Adams' salary. The move reunites Adams with Aaron Rodgers as quarterback in Green Bay, and it comes the morning after the Jets fell to the Bills 23-20 on Monday Night Football, moving the Bills to the top of the AFC East and dropping the Jets to 2-4. Of course, the Buffalo Bills, the Titans' next opponent, next Sunday at Highmark Stadium. The Nashville Predators are back home tonight hosting the Seattle Kraken as the 0-2 Preds look for their first win of the season. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. from Bridgestone Arena. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome back to the show. We are fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken here on 104.5 The Zone. Bert, Lucas, and me here with you for less than one more hour, 56 minutes to be exact. Your phone calls are welcome. In fact, they are appreciated. 615-737-1045. If you would like to join the discussion that we just had was about Will Levis and marketing opportunities. Stephen A. Smith got a piece of him on the way out the door on First Take yesterday, a parting shot after they discussed Calvin Ridley's comments on ESPN yesterday, and I mentioned that was the kind of national attention that Titans fans had been clamoring for, correct? Yes, the Titans discussed as a talking point on ESPN's First Take? Surely that's a good thing, until it's very much not. And we played for you the clip of Levis at the Manning Passing Academy from an ESPN Plus special where Levis is asking, there's a Q&A with Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, and not Archie Manning, Cooper Manning on a variety of different things. And Levis asks Peyton Manning a question about how do you know when is the proper time to market yourself, essentially. And, the Mayo commercials are something that's evident to everybody. There's a level of frustration going from the fan base with the quarterback who doesn't win anything, trying to sell them anything at all at this point. So you can interact with that topic if you would like. We are also going to discuss in this segment Rand Carthon and whether or not the job that he set out to do this offseason is getting accomplished with everything that's going on here. So let's do this with Rand in particular, or with the Titans front office, because I know it's not just Rand Carthon, but you're the GM. You're the face of the front office. Rand Carthon's vision of the Tennessee Titans, how would you say it's going right now?
Well, not great. They're 1-4.
Yeah. But the vision for new coach, modernized NFL offense, quarterback maximization, defense that is fast, physical, aggressive, press coverage, Denard Wilson at the head of it, who Rand Carthon knows well, a coaching staff under Brian Callahan that was very meticulously selected. Rand Carthon staying back with Brian Callahan during the Senior Bowl to make sure that they got everybody or as many people as humanly possible on this coaching staff that they wanted. And now the team is 1-4, and it wasn't an outright stated goal on we want the Titans to be the hottest ticket in town. But that's basically what they set out to do. And now people can't get rid of their Titans tickets fast enough. And in an entertainment city like Nashville, Tennessee, where they are now the third most interesting football team between the Vols, Vandy, and the Titans, certainly the third most competitive team between those three. Hockey season is back. You've got all kinds of different concerts and things vying for your discretionary income. How are they doing on making the Titans the hottest ticket in town?
Here's the thing, man. We talk about this every day for 3 hours, and we are going to look into every corner and crevice of the Titans organization and talking about where things are going wrong right now. What if, let's just oversimplify things for once here. Let's just oversimplify everything and say, what if 99% of the Titans' issues right now, this season, and the reason that they're 1-4 is because the quarterback has not been good. Because the quarterback is not a good football player right now.
99% of their issues?
Yeah, let's just, in that scenario, let's say the Titans have gotten above average quarterback play all year, and that impacts play calling, that impacts game planning. Brian Callahan has admitted to us multiple times this season that they are going into games with conservative game plans. He's not outright saying, because we can't trust him to throw the ball. He's not saying that, but he is saying our biggest strength is the run game right now. We're trying to lean into that because they can't trust the quarterback to push the ball downfield. Let's say the Titans have above average. Who is the most just above average quarterback in the NFL? Pat's elite. I'm saying when you think just above average, when you think of a quarterback that's he's good. He's not an elite quarterback, but he's above average. You'd like to have measured quarterback. Even though I'm not going to win you a bunch of Super Bowls.
Okay.
Is that Darnold right now?
Well, Darnold is playing one of the best quarterbacks.
He's playing more than above average. Geno?
Geno is probably the answer. Bart, do you have any thoughts on this? Because initially my mind went to Lamar, but Lamar's playing again like an MVP candidate.
My issue with Lamar, you're right, where he has risen to the occasion. I don't. That's a tough spot to be in, to not know what you guys are talking about and come in. I thought I could BS my way through it, but there's no way. There's no way I could do that one.
What are you doing?
What
would you say that you do here?
I'm doing your podcast. I'm getting your audio ready.
What audio? I didn't ask for any audio.
Well, here's you from 1147 that I'm editing right now.
In Marina Community.
You're trying to get in the Marina Community. I can talk about that all day.
Appreciate you so much for jumping in and trying to. And it would have been so funny.
That's the more sports talk radio thing you could have done. Is just trying to bulldoze your way through not paying attention to any of it. Anyway, point being, if they had, so let's just say it's Geno or right now, diminished Stafford is above average.
Lake Lovers.
Lake Lovers.
Let's say they have gotten above average.
If it's 99% of a quarterback problem, it's still a problem because you didn't spend $238 million on a quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. But I'm just saying, if they had gotten above average quarterback play and the Titans were, let's see, that would have gotten them a win over Chicago. It definitely would have gotten a win over the New York Jets. And they'd be 2-2. Right?
2-2.
We could say 2-2, maybe 3-2 against the Colts if they were willing to throw the football in that game. So if the Titans were 3-2 with above average quarterback play, we would not be doing this. Everything going wrong with the franchise, looking and trying to turn over stones to figure out why in the world is this going so drastically bad.
It's like saying that if Tony Pollard had 100 rushing yards, he didn't really have 100 rushing yards because there's a 41-yard rush in there or something like that. That hypothetical.
My whole point of it
makes me insane.
My whole point of it is the quarterback just might not be good, and that could be so much of this team's issues.
Absolutely, you are correct. But we are in this spot right now where they sold you meaningfully competitive, okay? They sold you meaningfully competitive. And not only that, they're doing it in a year where they're upselling. They're selling ahead. They're asking people to invest. And again, I'm not a season ticket holder. I don't pay for seats in the stadium. I don't know what a PSL costs. None of these things, right? Because that's not my lane. But they are asking people to not only invest in this year, but to invest in their future of them. They spend all the money on bright, shiny things. They bring in the bright, shiny new coaching staff, and it's all marketed around a very, very marketable quarterback who you're saying, 100%, they're still saying it, 100%, that's our guy as we try and figure things out around him. Yes, I understand your point. It is a well-made one, but it doesn't change the fact that they spent all this money and tried to make this thing a playoff caliber team. You had Tyler Boyd talking about, we think that we can still compete for a Super Bowl not that many weeks ago. We're not that far removed from that. So I'm not pinning all the issues on Rand Carthon, even though Rand Carthon is the person, the GM, who is responsible for drafting the quarterback. So it's a part of the vision, okay? And you can give me, no, that's Vrabel's pick. No, that's Amy's pick. I don't care. He's the GM.
He's the GM. He's the GM when they picked him.
Yep. You don't blame the boogeyman that's not here anymore, whether it's Derek, Tannehill, Vrabel, or otherwise, for people that were drafted by this organization. How would you say the year 2 players that were drafted in that first year are doing? Levis, Spears, who's day-to-day right now, not week-to-week, but day-to-day with a hamstring injury. Wiley, Skoronski. How would we say that the first Titans draft class under Ran Carthon is doing? Because the quarterback is the centerpiece, even if he wasn't the first-round pick.
You're saying this rookie class.
I'm talking about last year's draft class and this year's draft class, the 2 draft class under this general manager.
I'd say this year's a lot better than last year's.
Agreed. Yeah. So, but last year had the quarterback. Last year you thought you were doing the value play. You remember me talking about people that were in the draft room saying, yeah, it's a low-risk, high-reward type of situation. Well, here is the risk. Here is the risk. You've done all these things to invest around a player that you thought was going to succeed, that you went out and got, that you tried to trade up for multiple times. So I don't accept the fact that if you just had a different quarterback, 99% of your issues are resolved because you got this quarterback here.
No, but what can both things not be true?
Both things can be so, and it can be a failing proposition. All I'm saying is there was a vision and a plan presented. And the plan has fallen flat on its face. They're 6 weeks in, and they're out of it. They're not mathematically eliminated, but they're out of it. So I'm trying to determine, again, when we're assigning blame, is it just on the quarterback? Is it just on the coaching staff? Is it just on Calvin Ridley? No, everybody is a part of this thing. And I don't think that portion of the discussion is being talked about enough. You spent the second most money in free agency on these players that were supposed to come in here and take this thing from godforsaken to meaningfully competitive. Lucas, it's worse. It's a worse football team. Not that the talent, it's not less talented, but those aren't the same things. They have put together a worse football team than we thought that they were last year. It's like Daly to Dillard. Of course the left tackle play can't get worse. What do you mean it can be worse than Dennis Daly? What the hell is that? What am I watching?
I understand. My point is, I'm not that interested in looking around and examining and nitpicking every deal that they made in the offseason and every draft pick they've made in the last 2 years, when I firmly believe the most foundational problem that they have that has almost directly impacted every issue they have, especially on offense, is quarterback play. They are responsible for the quarterback.
They are responsible for the quarterback.
That is the person that they are building this thing around. The coach that they brought in to say, we've got a young quarterback we love. We need you to mold him and develop him. They are absolutely responsible for that. I'm saying I think it's almost wasted breath to look around at everything else when the most foundational thing is the quarterback. And they seem to, with returns to this point, have gotten that completely wrong.
Then shouldn't that be the biggest indictment? That they got the most important thing?
Sure.
The most
But that's
wrong?
where I think we should keep the conversation, right?
But that's a part of
the quarterback.
The conversation is the vision. There was a vision here. Again, that I know the money is the thing that's easiest to circle because it's a really big number and you can high point it, but as far as I can tell, you've made my argument for me. They've got the most important thing dreadfully wrong, it seems, through 6 weeks, even though they're not publicly admitting it yet.
And that's my point.
Based on my understanding, nor are they privately admitting it. And I don't want to allege that other conversations are being had in the facility. But again, after the only win of the season, where Callahan saying 100% he's our quarterback if he's healthy, my line in response was, okay, we'll see. 615-737-1045 is the number. If you want to jump in, we'll take your phone calls on this. We will also talk about adjusted expectations for both of these teams, Titans and Vols. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is here to help you if you are somebody who's dealing with erectile dysfunction. There are so many misconceptions out there about treating ED, and the Tennessee Men's Clinic is here to debunk those for you. Lots of men assume that if the pills don't work, they have no other options than irreversible surgery to treat their ED, and the sad reality is that if you go to a doctor to treat your ED, those may be the only protocols that they have available. Do not go through irreversible surgery to treat ED before you have talked to the experts at the Tennessee Men's Clinic. They specialize in men's sexual health issues. It's all they do, and it makes them the experts in the field. They have access to multiple protocols and options to treat your ED based on your specific needs and what's going on in your body. So don't trust your health to an online pharmacy and don't feel like you're out of options. We want you to understand all your options when it comes to treating ED. The Tennessee Men's Clinic protocols are patient-centered and customized to your needs. They have treatments for everything from low testosterone, ED, treatments that increase size and stamina, and everything else in between. So call them today to schedule an appointment. 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com for their Franklin or Midtown locations. We are fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, 615-737-1045. If you want to jump in, you can do so. F&M Bank Chat also weighing in on the conversation. We're talking about the vision for this football team and how things have gone since then. And if you wanted to push back on me, and you're welcome to do so via the phones or the chat, or Lucas has no issues with that. Bert has to be listening to push back on me.
What was that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The argument would be, well, what would you have done differently this offseason, right? And that's completely fair criticism. But I maintain consistency on you paid 2 corners, which is fine because you needed cornerback help. But you have to understand when you give out that money, and it's not like they don't understand this, but that's the highest variance position as far as performance goes that you could hand big money to. And Snead has not, again, the defense has not been a problem, but Snead individually
was not good on Sunday.
And has gotten away with getting beat on several different plays had they been playing more accurate quarterbacks. Tyler Huntley, Flacco. Flacco did not have a good day as far as the accuracy downfield. They had multiple touchdown opportunities missed where guys are just running behind the Titans secondary. But again, the defense is not the crux of the issue.
Yeah, I don't care about any of that.
The offense is the crux of the issue.
Yeah. The quarterback.
The quarterback is, would you say that the quarterback is the biggest issue that they have of all the issues?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't even know what the close second is.
The close second is that they can't figure it out around the quarterback.
We can nitpick. Oh, they paid Kenneth Murray this much too much.
Didn't like the Kenneth Murray contract, this much whatever.
Don't care about any of that.
Sure.
They've gotten it wrong with the quarterback.
And the thing that I was most excited about was the center. You need a good center for a young ascending quarterback. Potentially, he was ascending at the time. It's not like our eyes lied to us, unless everything around him last year was just so god awful that you were looking for any semblance of competency, and that he showed some in some moments was worth noting. But there are things after the fact that you can look at. So everybody said that the Colts didn't do enough last year
in the offseason.
And what is the one thing that they got correct? The backup quarterback. The backup quarterback was the thing that they got most correct.
Mm-hmm. It's the only reason they're not a one-win football team.
The vision included a backup quarterback here. The most expensive quarterback on the roster, the most experienced quarterback on the roster, but they have not yet willingly gone to the backup quarterback that arguably would give them more chances to win games. So that is also a part of the equation that we did not bring up in the first segment. All of this needs to be taken into consideration, but the crux of the issue is that the quarterback cannot figure it out, and that the coaching staff can't figure it out around the quarterback.
The Titans got a backup quarterback that can win you a game in a pinch, but is not good enough to have fans screaming to start the backup quarterback because he can help you be more meaningfully competitive than the starter. And even though some Titans fans are screaming that, but like the Colts could sneak into the playoffs with Joe Flacco as their quarterback.
The Browns did exactly that with Joe Flacco last year.
I don't know that the Titans could with Mason Rudolph.
And the Calvin Ridley, I know plenty of people elsewhere outside of Nashville had the opinion of, well, Calvin Ridley got overpaid. And I think we were consistent on the idea, well, you didn't have anybody else to pay, so you better overpay for a wide receiver because you don't have any wide receiver help. Because imagine them relying on Treylon Burks again. They understood that at the time. Tyler Boyd as well. So there are multiple points to be brought up here on why the vision has not gone to plan. But again, the vision was centered around the quarterback.
Yeah.
615-737-1045 is the number if you want to jump in. Let's go to Ryan. Hey, Ryan.
Oh, sorry, I had you on mute. My bad.
That's okay. I'm sure plenty of people would rather have me on mute. That's all right.
So at the beginning of the year, the question was going around on your radio station whether or not firing Mike Vrabel and bringing along Callahan was the right decision. I was one of the few people that called in at the time and said, I thought it was a bad idea. I kind of got heckled for it, but it's all good. I'm looking at it now, and I'm just like, man, if you gave Vrabel this team with this much money that was put into it, I can't help but think that the record would be so much better than what it is right now. I really hate to talk about Ryan Tannehill and bring him up because he's gone now, but he's a sore subject with me because I thought he was a great quarterback. I wouldn't say fantastic. He's not all pro, but in your question earlier, above average, I felt like for some of those years he definitely was, and he's definitely better than what we have now. And so if you gave Vrabel this team, I don't think we're even anywhere close to this record. And so you got to put some ownership onto the owner who made this decision and try and quit fishing for quarterback.
Thank you, Ryan. That's 60 seconds on the clock because we do have a lot of calls, and that's why the Oscar music is playing. But to me, it sounds less. I know you're making the point on behalf of Vrabel, but it sounds like you're making more your point on behalf of Tannehill.
And, okay, now that I know what you guys are talking about last segment, the slightly above average quarterback for me is Brock Purdy. He doesn't really elevate anyone on their team that isn't already a superstar. Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. None of those guys are getting elevated by Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is a sum of his parts. He's slightly above average. He can help you out in the pass game. He can help you out if the rush is a little too good, but he's not going to go out there and win you a game by himself. I would say Brock Purdy is the slightly above average poster board quarterback.
What would Titans fans do to have Brock Purdy quarterbacking this team? Terrible things. Unspeakable.
How much better is Brock Purdy than Ryan Tannehill? Because he makes the right decision damn near every time. And it's not like the situation has to be totally perfect around him. They had a pretty tough go of it through the first couple of weeks of the season. They seem to have evened out, as most NFL teams do. But, I mean, if Brock Purdy is slightly above average, then does Ryan Tannehill not fit closer to that bill? I know more stuff has to be right around Tannehill.
And it's tough because the real kicker with Purdy is the price tag, right? You're not having to pay Brock Purdy as an NFL quarterback. You would have to pay Ryan Tannehill, what? And at this point, it's substantially much lower a number. But if you sign him at the beginning of the year, you're going to have to pay him $10, $12 million.
Basically, Brock Purdy's getting minimum wage. I mean, it is insane.
Yeah, it's as little as you can pay an NFL draft pick. Literally.
It's crazy. His contract, what his contract is going to look like is going to be so fascinating.
He's going to get $60 million a year.
I guess.
No, I mean, not I guess. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's done more than any of these other slaps that got 55.
Man, has any quarterback in the history of the NFL been drafted into a better situation, considering his traits, than Brock Purdy?
Well, I mean, you could argue Caleb Williams as far as like number one overall picks, because Brock Purdy, they didn't even try to make it work with Purdy. They tried to make it work with Trey Lance.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying.
So even the smartest get it wrong.
Has any late round quarterback fallen into a better situation than Purdy? No. Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. That's pretty good. But also, Brady had to make his own way, as did Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy got them to a Super Bowl. He helped get them to a Super Bowl. So this is something that, because people are saying Purdy is elite. Elite where? Elite where specifically? His decision making is elite, and that is an elite trait. That is absolutely an elite trait, especially for Kyle Shanahan, because Kyle Shanahan may be running the joystick or whatever, but the player still has to get the job done and see the things that Kyle Shanahan is also seeing.
But to the caller's point about, Vrabel would win X games with this team with Tannehill as his quarterback, I don't think a lot of people here or around the league take issue with what the Titans were doing in principle this offseason, of bringing in an offensive-minded coach to put your chips in on a young quarterback, maximize the situation around him, try to win with the quarterback on a rookie deal. In principle, that's the formula right now.
Oh, yeah. No, listen. I mean, we did the whole summer of they're checking all the right boxes. Right. What it'll look like remains to be seen, but in theory, all of this works.
In principle, right. But it's the quarterback has been terrible.
No,
that's all it is. That's it.
Just wait a damn minute.
No, that's it.
No, it's not just
Show's over.
It's not just it.
Going home.
You literally said the exact opposite thing yesterday while making a motion of a circle because you're talking yourself into circles.
Wayne and Zach.
No, we don't even play. We don't even play money trees anymore. Stop it.
That's collard greens, not money trees.
Whatever. The Vrabel thing, though, plenty of people were dragging them even after they hired Brian Callahan, because then Ramon calls it the Titans tax, right? Then Brian Callahan is viewed as a viable candidate until he gets hired to coach the Titans, right? And then people are down on the idea of hiring Brian Callahan. They got absolutely crushed for firing Mike Vrabel everywhere. I mean, basically everywhere but here. So it wasn't consensus. Oh, yeah, in principle, I get what you're doing. It's why did you fire a coach of the year?
Yeah, that's before they hired the offensive coach and went into this new era with trying to keep up with NFL offenses and bringing in weapons. Like, you're right. In the moment, people were like, what in the world are they doing? The Patriots are going to snap him up, and we all saw what happened.
Sure. Let's go to Danny up next.
What's up, guys? So the first time I'm ever going to say this, hopefully the last time, but damn it, I agree with Buck. The problem the Titans have is just the quarterback. It's not a problem with Brian Callahan's play calling.
Hold on, Danny. That's my point. You flipped us.
It just ain't it. Or whoever's right there. I mean, you guys can fight about that. Listen, it's my part of the show, real quick. So the issue that I take with what people are saying about Will Levis is that the Titans went through and did exactly what they were supposed to do with a proven blueprint in the friggin' NFL right now, and they brought in a rookie quarterback, and they put a ton of talent around him. Now, there's something to be said about you can't just farm out your talent acquisition. You can't just go out in free agency. You have to have some homegrown guys here and there. But the current administration in power doesn't have a damn thing to do with the fact that A.J. Brown's not here, so you can't point fingers at them. If they tried and failed with Will Levis at quarterback, at least you know now. Everyone shut your mouths. Let Will Levis sink or swim. He'll probably sink, and you move on next year. Rinse and repeat. You still have a ton of talent on the roster for a far better quarterback to come in again.
Thank you, Danny. Your portion of the show is a minute long, so just that's where that ends after 60 seconds. Correct. So here's the thing though that I bring up with the vision and the quarterback and all the money spent and all that. Do we through 2 off seasons think their process is sound? Do we have enough information to make that determination yet?
What process?
The process of what he's just said, a proven blueprint on how to get a team that sucks off the mat. Because this is not a process that many teams take.
No.
This is not a winning formula for a lot of people who go out and not max spend, but damn near max spend.
Yeah, and in terms of addressing your roster primarily in free agency, because you just don't have the draft picks to do so.
So understanding that the quarterback is a part of the process here, or the vision, or however you want to categorize it, was their process sound in 2 off seasons?
No, because they got the quarterback wrong.
615-737-1045 is how you jump in.
Like I'm taking crazy pills.
Tim is up next. Hey, Tim.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I listen to you guys all the time. I want to talk about today's modern NFL player. I'm 62 years old now. I'm old school, and I've always liked the Vikings. I grew up in Nashville. I do like the Titans, too. But I think Deshaun Watson illustrates he's the poster child of today's NFL player. You get paid, you get lazy. That's my opinion of him. I mean, like Joseph Day for the Titans, he's hungry. You see he's putting out effort. All the rest of them paid, lazy. And I just, NFL's good for 2 things, in my opinion, gambling and or fantasy. And that's all I got to say. Thank you very much. I don't want to get music down. All right. Talk to you. Bye.
Thanks, Tim.
Spiteful music at the end.
Sebastian Joseph Day isn't lazy. He's one of the most level-headed and fundamentally sound players.
Did he bring up Sebastian Joseph Day?
Isn't that who he said was lazy?
He was just saying NFL players get lazy when they get paid. Did he bring up Joseph Day?
I thought I heard Sebastian Joseph Day. Maybe I need new headphones.
That would be a very random player to bring up if your argument is.
That's what I thought. That's
once you get a big contract to get lazy, Sebastian Joseph Day is making too much damn money.
I can't ask Bert because I know he wasn't listening. Let's go to Ann up next.
What is Sebastian? He's on a 3-year, $24 million deal. Yeah, he couldn't have been talking about Sebastian Joseph Day. No, that's not the case there. NFL players don't just automatically get lazy after. Maybe some do, but that might be a lazy take.
Hello, Ann.
Hi, Buck. How are you?
Great.
So I think that the bill of goods that I was sold this offseason was we are going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at this, to quote the Miss Amy Hostage video, a possibly good, hopefully good young quarterback. And I remember talking over the offseason saying, this is going to be a success, regardless of our win-loss record, if we come out of it knowing 100% what Will Levis is or is not. And I will defend Rand Carthon until the death because he helped me propose to my wife.
Oh, well, that's a lovely thing, and that was very nice of him to help you guys out with, or to be a part of, because that's obviously a very special moment. So, listen, it's not an attack or a defense of Rand Carthon. It's simply evaluating where things are right now, and a part of the whole process, because the quarterback is the part of the process, the coach is a part of the process. Calvin Ridley, Sebastian Joseph Day, Jeff Simmons, all of them are a part of the process. So it's just a okay, what happened? How did we get here? What could have been contributing factors to the place that we're now in?
By the way, the caller earlier was saying everyone except he was saying, naming Sebastian Joseph Day as the type of player that is still hungry.
Okay, because I heard him say Deshaun Watson.
He named Deshaun Watson as the lazy version. Okay. After getting, I don't know if Deshaun Watson's lazy. I think he's just bad at football and being a person.
Last call for phone calls if you got them. 615-737-1045 is the number. I'm Buck Risings, 1045 The Zone. Hey, it's Buck Rising, and let's be real. Plumbing emergencies always seem to happen at the worst times, whether it's a burst pipe in the middle of the night or your water heater breaking down over the holidays. It's a total headache. But here's the good news. Benjamin Franklin Plumbing has you covered 24/7. No matter when disaster strikes, their expert plumbers will respond fast. And get this, they guarantee to be on time or they'll pay you for the delay. That's why they're called the punctual plumber. Plus, they've got all the tools and expertise to handle anything from a clogged drain to a major sewer backup. When you call Benjamin Franklin Plumbing, you know you're getting professional, reliable service. So don't let a plumbing emergency ruin your day or night. Keep Benjamin Franklin Plumbing on speed dial and get help whenever you need it. Visit BenjaminFranklinPlumbing.com today to schedule your service or learn more. Welcome back to the show. We are fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Last call for phone calls if you got them. 615-737-1045. Been a fun show today. Is it fun because the three of us are back together? I don't know why. You still haven't told me why you're here. I'm confused by it.
If you could get me an answer, no one told me I could go, so I kind of just stayed.
I have literally.
He just waits on somebody every day to pop their
Can I
head in.
leave?
Okay, you can go home now.
You kidding me? You can't even get through a segment without having to take a cigarette break.
That's not true. I've been through plenty of segments today, probably 2 or 3 without cigarettes. I need one right now. So
the fact that you I think you started to slur your words at the end there, either because you're delirious or because you haven't had a cigarette.
I want you to look inside, look deep inside.
There's nothing there.
And tell me that you haven't enjoyed hanging out with me today.
I don't enjoy hanging out with you. In fact, it raises my blood pressure.
After he just said, been having fun today. By the way, I think we might see a new and improved Robert Walsh tomorrow.
I forgot. Buck doesn't even know about this.
What?
I'm getting an adaptive surgery today.
Adaptive surgery? What, penile enhancement?
He's getting some work done.
Dude, how did he get that first try? First try, he understands what I'm going for.
I do ads for it for a living.
I'm getting my braces off today.
Yeah!
I will be braceless Bert in a matter of an hour.
I don't think I'm ready for that.
I mean, you're not going to get any prettier. How long have you had braces?
Oh, my God. The limit does not exist. I think I've had these on since 2018, like pre-COVID.
2018?
Wow. Well, see, the difference was I had impacted canines. So what that means is the teeth that were adults
means he had that dog in him.
I tell them, Lucas. They didn't come down like they were supposed to. They didn't come down and fill the space, so they just stayed up in my head. So what they had to do was do a surgery, open up the skin, attach a chain to those teeth, and then slowly but surely crank them out of my head. And it has taken, it's been 5 years. I feel like that old lady from the Titanic. That meme's getting used too much. Hell with Titanic. Get rid of the Titanic meme. But getting the braces off today. Very excited. Very excited for Cheyenne to finally get to feel how my slimy teeth taste next to hers.
Instead of getting caught on whatever the hell contraption they've shoved in your mouth for the last 6 years.
I'm such a pro at this point. So many things I'm looking forward to eating. Apples, nuts, so many things that got stuck in my braces before.
You're dangerously close
Popcorn.
to
That's dangerously close for you. That's dangerously close for you, buddy. I was never going to say anything about that.
Head out of the gutter.
Come on. You're disgusting.
I cannot
That's going to be the future woman of my children.
It's going to be so jarring.
To see him without braces?
Yes, but I'm excited and I'm happy for you. That's awesome.
Me too, man. Braceless Bert. Here we go.
Braceless Bert.
615-737-1045.
You see how upset he gets when the conversation changes from him?
Yeah.
As soon as we stop talking about whatever Buck is doing.
It's palpable.
Well, yeah.
With him,
what are you new here?
It's palatable, you would think.
That's the first good joke you've told today. Last call for phone calls if you got them. Let's go to, your stomach hurts because you've been shoveling hot fries.
I had too many hot fries
into your face for 3 straight hours.
I admit it.
What do you mean your stomach hurts?
Had nothing but coffee and hot fries.
I mean, it's just, how this studio doesn't smell horrendous because you're gassy as hell.
I'm not gassy.
Yeah, no, you are gassy.
No, I'm not.
You're gassy by principle. The way that you burp, again, I've said this a million times. It sounds like something is getting ready to burst out of your chest like the movie Alien.
No proof of this.
I wish we had a recording because
I'll leave my phone. I will tape him. I'll tape him like the Nashville district attorney that was taping conversations that he wasn't supposed to be taping or whatever the hell he was doing, tapping phones. Whatever he was doing.
9 times out of 10, I disagree with Buck just to disagree with Buck. But Lucas has the most guttural, animal-like burp.
It's disgusting.
There is no holding back whatever is coming up. It sounds painful when he
that's what I'm
burps.
saying. Like some people's chest hurt when they hiccups. Like, I don't know how you aren't physically hurt by the way that you burp.
There's no proof
with
of that.
no hyperbole. Like it's like it sounds like a roar. You can't stop it.
Just ate too many hot fries.
Disgusting. Steve is next.
Hey, Buck.
Hey, bud.
Hey, well, let me ask you one question, and then I'll tell you what I was going to expound on. What percentage of Titans fans, those of us that are still Titans fans, would you say are UT Vols fans?
Oh, I would say 60%, maybe 65% have crossover.
Okay.
in my opinion, Rand Carthon, strike 1, 2, and 3 was on the draft last year when, first of all, they drafted the one person that most Titans fans despised and would not want drafted. And then on top of that, the next day they did their cute little wave to everybody just to piss off the fans. So that's Rand Carthon strike 1, 2, and 3, and I think they turned off a lot of fans, and I think it's going to cost them in the future.
Well, I mean, what's costing them is they don't win.
Yeah.
What's costing them is they suck. And listen, they are all responsible. That's basically the larger point with this. The quarterback is the primary issue, but they are all responsible for how bad this team is. This is an organizational failure.
I hope we don't revisit that, though.
The wave?
No.
Him and Vrabel after they drafted a fifth-round tight end instead of a wide receiver?
The fans, determining draft picks based on who your fans like and don't like.
You are the shining example of that.
You think that I didn't want the Titans to draft Will Levis because he went to Kentucky?
I think you didn't want the Titans to draft Will Levis because you're a Tennessee fan.
Yeah, I didn't want the Titans to draft Will Levis because I didn't think he was a good quarterback. I do not. Buddy, you think?
Yes.
You think?
Yes. Yes. I've seen you watch Tennessee Vols games. Yes. You can try and hide it all you want.
I did not want the Titans to draft Will Levis because he was not a good quarterback coming out, in my opinion. I could care less where he went to college. If the Titans get an all-pro quarterback from Alabama, I will be celebrating. And as soon as Levis got here, I wanted nothing but for him to be successful. But let's not revisit the base your draft picks based on who fans like and don't like. Let's not do that.
Polls.
But they should have drafted Hendon Hooker.
I knew it!
Polls are presented by Two Rivers Ford. What in sports made you say, oh no, this week? Two Rivers, by the way, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Bart says his is off the field. The Ravens guy punching Commanders fans on the street. No word on if it was or wasn't Robert Walsh. Karen says every single Titans game. Just a lot of stuff about Will Levis. Chase did say the Aiden Hutchinson injury. It was gruesome.
That sucks. I didn't see the injury, but it really sucks. I will say that I can confirm that Ravens fan punching Commanders fans randomly outside of the stadium in the head was not Robert Walsh because he didn't have braces.
Who do you blame more for Brian Callahan's conservative play calling? Will Levis or Brian Callahan? 53.7% of the audience are going with Will Levis.
Yep, agreed.
I agree as well. Who would win on a neutral field between Vandy and the Vols right now? 57% say Vols.
Ooh, can we have that conversation tomorrow?
Sure.
I don't want to throw that in the middle of the end of the show.
Do you buy that Will Levis's shoulder injury impacted the throw on the interception? 64% say no.
No, me neither.
Those are the polls.
Excellent. That's the show. We had fun today. If you missed out on any of the fun, you can check out the podcast in your favorite podcast app. Not on primetime tonight. It's my night off, so you can enjoy Sam Phelan there on the A to Z Sports Network. Blaine and Zach coming up next.